there. They create the problems.
So anyway,
our survival lies there, sir.
yes. So now I think the very serious questions which we have in this talk, which you're talking about, deliberating upon that. So where we are lacking, sir, first and foremost is we are lacking in the area of research. We do not have sufficient research in any field. We had this Nobel laureate, not we cannot produce Nobel laureates. We produce Nobel laureates there. But quality research is something we need to have. And the indigenous solutions have to indigenous problems. You see, if we have our local problems, how deal with that? What have we done? I don't have a classroom where I could make 20 children sit and teach them. I've got 46 children, 50 children in my class. I cannot get, you see, a model from America, 22 children sitting, you see, in Houston, Texas, a class there. How to get that? So I can find how to see, how can I use technology, how can I use collaborate there to teach my 46 children to excel, to think, to go away from the rote memory. These are my questions in this problem which I am to face here. And this can come only if we have, you see, grassroots level functional research in the form of actual research or in the form of, you see, any university tie up with school system there. Let the university come up what my problems are and let them have research there. And let them come back. And secondly, what is research being done in the university there? I don't know what is happening there. The research does not reach me at all. How to practice that is another problem. Third, शिक्षक, अध्यापक, आचार्य, गुरु। मैं कौन हूं? क्वेश्चन इज देयर। क्या मैं शिक्षक हूं? क्या मैं अध्यापक हूं? Is Swadhyaya. Let us study more what is happening there. Second, Chintan. Reflect upon what is happening. And third is Sangati, collegium. Let's sit together. Find out solutions to these problems. I think we should have every month such programs here. We could sit together and find a daily debate on all these issues there. I know that time is very short. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. For considering the time, I request our distinguished speakers to limit to 6 or 7 minutes, and then we can, speak accordingly. Now, I request Sri Ashok Pandey.
Thank you, Dr. Samuel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just sensed that the emotions are very high in the room because we are all some way feel victimized about the current realities, but we will confine ourselves to active sustainable education because that is the topic. I think some serious thought should be given to you regardless of the problems that we have. In fact, if those problems are there, then only the question of sustainability emerges much more strongly. If the problems were not there, then probably this deliberation would not have been required. Mr. Mathur is here. He has already alluded to some of the things, knowingly or unknowingly, about the active sustainable education. I have 2 or 3 points to make here. Any education, if it has to be sustainable and it has to be active, we must give some kind of framework to the term education itself as to what we want out of that education. And Indian knowledge system, Indian philosophy, Indian spiritualism is replete with the definitions of education, and if the essence of all those definitions are to be capsuled into 1 or 2 things, I think it would amount to what Aristotle said long time back, that the purpose of education is that it must consist of goodness at the heart of it, essentially. And if for the purpose of clarification it is required, what is that goodness, then we can say the goodness is into 2 parts. One is the goodness of the intellect, and the other is the goodness of the character. And therefore, we have to build our education system in such a way that the intellectual goodness and character goodness, they combine together and they flourish. And the entire human being into the child flourishes for all times to come. And that has the compartments. You have the school education, then you have the college education, then they will enter into career, and then they have to enter into a lifelong learning. And therefore, the purpose of education, in my opinion, is to create conditions for the flourishing of the human being so that from our schools, there are good college education, the good career, and a good lifelong contribution from them is ensured. So if that is the agreed definition of education, I would say it can be active only when all stakeholders into the system of education and all instruments of education, they are also very active. So the child has to be active, the teacher has to be active, the parents have to be active, the society itself, society plays a very, very great role in the education of the children. It takes a village to educate a child, that is a very famous African proverb. At the same time, when I say that instruments also have to be active, what I mean is that we have to have an active curriculum, we have to have an active pedagogy, we have to have an active assessment system. Because right now, willy-nilly, we have accepted that one size fits all. So we have the same curriculum, we have the same pedagogy, the same assessment system, the same standard, and then the same standard only passes or fails the children. Somebody gets 95, 96. I mean, is it fair? That is where I think the question lies. Our classrooms are not homogeneous, they are heterogeneous. They come because of the differentiation in the family background, economic, cultural, social, linguistic, their interests, what they want to do, what they don't want to do. If so much of differentiation exists in our classrooms, how can we answer them all with the same instrumentality of teaching and assessment? So one activity is required there, and which is a very serious matter. And therefore, in our teaching training programs, when we teach the teachers, I think the training institutions and the BEd colleges, I think they are also very, very important stakeholders into it. And what kind of teachers we are going to produce who will be able to respond to these differential needs of the curriculum, I think